Yeah, so we talked about the Falcons, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then we talked about a small bit about Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. But
Yeah.
there's another team in that division, Killian. Your team,
Uh-huh.
the Carolina Panthers.
Woo!
Just we're gonna move on to Cam's corner here. This is a small segment that we're gonna do every podcast. We're just gonna check in on Cam Newton, see how he's doing, see
I
what's
love
up.
it.
Our
Nah,
Cam
I
Newton
fucking hate it.
correspondent, of course, Killian Hayward. Take it away, my friend.
Right, so as everyone know, Cam Newton, the greatest quarterback of all time, and probably the greatest rushing player of all time. You know, the stats are there. I'm not going to argue.
Yeah, the stats are there. I'm sure. I'm sure.
The Panthers released him of his contract, and not even that. It's that they released a statement, a club statement, saying that Cam Newton has requested to seek out a trade. You know, that they weren't even saying that there was a trade confirmed, and they were saying that Cam wanted it. And then underneath that, because I was like, oh fuck, Cam Newton wanted to take Carolina to the Super Bowl. He said that, and he said he wanted to win the Super Bowl at Carolina. He said that too.
Yeah.
And underneath that stupid Instagram post is his cryptic typing message being like, I didn't want this, you are forcing me out, blah blah blah, whatever. And then even Greg Olson is just like, oh, this seems so familiar, man.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, Kuechly retiring young and early. And I mean, all respect to Kuechly, he knows his own body. He probably doesn't want to get a case of CTE because he's had a good few concussions in like the NFL.
Very true. Very true.
So with Kuechly, I am upset, but like it was his own choice. Olsen probably wasn't in the same scenario as Cam Newton, but it seems like he was pushed to the side as well. Cam Newton, man, was just kicked out of the Panthers, and the way the club handled it, it's just outrageous. Like, man, like Cam was my guy. Like Cam was my guy, because the way I got into American football is. There's a Madden game, it was Madden 2010, and the Panthers were terrible. And I always pick the team that's the underdogs to play at, so I picked the Panthers. And then I decided to watch the game, and I can't remember what year it was, but I know that it was Auburn versus, was it Alabama? And Cam led Auburn to a victory, and I can't remember, was it like 30 points down or something like that? And that's when I was like, yo, this is my guy if I go into the NFL. I'm going to follow to the team that he goes to. And he went to the Panthers, first round pick. And I was like, oh, it's totally meant to be.
Yeah.
I played as the Panthers on Madden, and my favorite guy is going to the Panthers. And the chemistry and the, what would you call it? The culture of the club was like, just like, have fun, go out, have fun, like cool vibes, all that kind of stuff, especially with Cam leading the pack.
Yeah.
And what's annoying about this Cam, I can't even say trade because they just got rid of him.
It wasn't. It was just
for
it was
nothing.
just a straight release.
Oh, I know, man. And it's a complete cultural rebuild as well as a rebuild of a team. They are looking at McCaffrey being like, this dude is now the face of our franchise, which, good. I love McCaffrey to bits as well. He's a fantastic player. But I liked the way that the Panthers acted and how the Panthers were on the field and off the field and how funny they were and how like upbeat they always were.
Yeah.
And now like all that's gone, and poor Cam, man, he's on a bench somewhere just waiting for a team's bus to pick him up.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's crazy.
I'm so upset. I'm so upset. They did him so dirty, man. Oh.
Yeah, they did, and it's all to do with that culture change that you said, because they do have that new owner in David Tepper, and David Tepper comes in and he says, we're going to evaluate everyone as we go, and this was when the season was still ongoing. Cam Newton at this point, he was out with an injury. I think he was out after game 2 of the season, so they put in Kyle Allen, and Kyle Allen now he was traded to the Redskins.
That worked out actually. That worked out for the Panthers though, because we got a round pick and we picked someone actually quite good. But yeah, we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
But with Tepper, he's really into all this. I guess what we call sports analysis and all this kind of scientific stuff. So he wants to find his guy as the coach, and unfortunately, Riviera was not his guy, so he's gone, and then they bringing in
Matt
what's
Rule.
the new guy's name? I
Matt
don't
Rule.
even know the new guy's name. That's how
Matt Rule.
annoyed I am. Matt Rule. He's been to a few college programs before, and he's turned it around incredibly. I mean,
Yeah.
he's been at
Very.
I can't remember the names, but
It was
he's
Temple,
made
and
that
then it was
football.
Baylor.
There you go. Two teams that were kind of like, well, not really kinda. They were not good at
Yeah.
football, and he turned it around and made them competitors, which is great. And I'm happy to have him as a coach because I did like Riverboat Ron, but when a coach goes, I'm not as attached to the coach as the players. So
Yeah.
with new coach coming in and saying that he wanted to work with Cam and all the players that were there, and then to go back on the word immediately, it's really hit me hard as a Panthers fan because Cam made me a Panthers fan.
Yeah.
Kuechly solidified that. Smith solidified that, and Olsen solidified that. And
Yeah.
then they're all gone, and like, are we ever going to have a franchise legend? You know what I mean? That was just Panthers.
Yeah.
No, we're not. Never.
Yeah. Well, Luke Kuechly. He retired a Panther, so he will.
Yeah, he retired. Yeah, no, that's true. He is a club
But,
legend. I love Kuechly.
The thing is, with that announcement that the Panthers made, they said, "Oh, Cam Newton is free to pursue a trade." But
Yeah.
it was so late in the off-season window, and the draft was so close that he didn't really have the opportunity to go seek out a team who wanted him to get those medicals done. Because
Not at all.
a large part of why still remains unsigned is due to his physical limitations. People don't know whether he can run it anymore. They don't know if he can throw it as effectively as he used to be able to. But
Yeah.
not
No, but his Cam season before this last season where he had injury, I'm pretty sure he was en route to have his best season yet, accuracy wise and receptions wise. He was on form, and then he got injured, and that's where you can see where Cam got injured, the whole team crumbled. So I can understand the fact that we need to get more than one great player. I mean, they had McCaffrey too, but obviously Cam carried the team forward. He was the guy. Like in their 2015 run to the Super Bowl,
yeah.
what wide receivers did he have? I like seriously, they aren't the greatest at all, but he made them, good. Like he was formidable in quarterback and the rushing as well. You had a dual, what's the word?
Dual threat.
A dual threat quarterback who can rush as well.
Yeah.
And then you had McCaffrey alongside him, who running back and essentially a wide receiver as well, or a slot receiver. You had two dual threats on your team, and you decided to get rid of the one that all the fans loved. And I'm speechless. I'm so upset about it.
Yeah, so now Cam Newton has been replaced by former Saints quarterback, NFC South rival Teddy Bridgewater. And, the thing is with Teddy Bridgewater, he's another one of these check it down, play it safe guys. And I think he averaged about 6 air yards per attempt last season when he played those 5 games he played with New Orleans. So it's not going to be an exciting downfield, explosive offense when Teddy Bridgewater's at the helm. He's not going to force passes downfield. But they also signed PJ Walker. And PJ Walker is interesting because a few years ago he played at Temple under the new coach Matt Rule. But I think he was selected in the draft late rounds by the Colts, and the Colts just didn't see a future with him, so they let him go, they cut him, and he ended up playing in the ill-fated XFL that just recently went into liquidation and will likely not return. But he was the presumptive XFL MVP. Like, he played at a very, very high level considering the talent around him. Yeah. And to me, I'm not so sure if Teddy Bridgewater is going to hold on to that starting job if PJ Walker is in town.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that Cam Newton, who do we have? We had Cam Newton, we had Kyle Allen, and then I think his name was Helsinki or something like that a while ago anyway. And, when Cam Newton got injured, there was a big problem at the quarterback position. But with Bridgewater and our XFL signing,
Yeah.
there's kind of like if one goes down, the other one can pick up at the same level. That's how I feel like the situation is going to go. And I feel like there actually might be a lot more rotation than a usual quarterback position would have.
Yeah.
Especially, Teddy Bridgewater, he only really came into effect when Drew Brees had an injury, or they were just like, go on, get out there, have a good time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what his attitude would be like to conducting a whole team for a whole game will be, while as our other quarterback signing is used to that, but in an XFL scenario. So it's going to be interesting how they do it. I would love to see more rotation at quarterback. It'll kind of like spice it up a bit because they both have different kind of, I guess, fundamentals as quarterbacks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting, and I think in the long run it will be a good move because if they want to get rid of either one of them, they're going to have someone of an equal ability to keep and then replace the other guy with.
True.
But
true.
It's just, I wanted Cam.
Yeah,
I would love Cam and the XFL guy. What's his name again?
PJ Walker.
Yeah, I would love him as the backup for Cam.
Yeah.
That's what I would have loved.
All right.
But again, it's cultural change.
Yes.